coming up. Just want to do a quick one here, folks. All-round good guy, nice guy, former New Zealand Superbike road racing champion Russell Josiah from Bike Talk Racing owns the Thai restaurant, Thai Central here in Taupo. We're encouraging you to come for tea tonight. So visitors and locals alike, people sharing an interest in motorcycling. We'll talk about that shortly. Take us away, Brad.
Yeah, much better start by Al Hoogie, but I think it's still going to be Tony Rees gets it done on the restart. A better start from Seth Devereux as well. Finds himself up into third place ahead of Scotty Moyer. So it's all on here. There is no Dylan Telford in the restart. Oh, Tony and Al have gone, they've run on, and Tony's got airtime on the Fireblade. So a wild ride for Tony Rees, and lucky to keep that upright. Wow, drama here, and Seth Devereux in here at Salee. We've got a Ctas replay. Let's check it out. So Tony comes in. Oh, there's contact. So Al and Tony make contact in turn 2 to start of the S's. Both have to stand up and take evasive action, and then they're on the grass. And watch Tony. He gets his bike off the ground and that little rough stuff there. What a wild ride. And meanwhile, while this goes on, Seth Devereux, Dave Sharp and Scotty Moyer have snuck off into the distance. So we are well on here. A quick 6-lap restart here. Shout out to Dylan Telford, who went off in the earlier race. Hopefully everything's a-okay and we can get him back over this 5-race program for the weekend. But meanwhile, we're going to go racing with these guys. This is all on because they lost a lot of time, Al and Tony. So this is going to be interesting to see if they're quick enough to catch up with those boys. And the other boys are going to know it's all on here. Scotty Moyer looks like he's got that Promoto R1 into the lead now. So he's coming into the flip-flop on the number 5 machine with Vandermeer Builders and Diamond Design back on board. Scott Moyer Racing looking good. He loves this place, hometown hero, and flying at the moment. The number 5 on board. Then we go to the 111, Seth Devereux on the beautiful Ducati Panigale. And then in behind him, Dave Sharp. Dave's looking racy in third place on the DP Racing Kawasaki as well. Check this one out. Then we go to Finn Ruther. He is there in 6th place, and Al and Tony 4th and 5th, and they're 6.7 seconds back from that pack ahead of them. So have a look at this one here. There's only 5 laps left. Have they got it in them to reel those top 3 in? This is going to be all on.
Right, thank you, and a shout out to Pav. Thank you, Pav. Love your text at the moment. So Pav, awesome president of Motorcycle New Zealand, doing some family duties today with a shift going on for his daughter in Auckland. Good on you, Pav. There's always times when families still got to come first. Well done for that. But in particular, for Zed and the executive team, and him as the Pres, and Mike Keris, course general manager. He's joined us here today. Thank you, Mike. He's getting his hands dirty, helping to make the event happen as well today. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much for helping make our sport go. And very interesting times. You've got moto clubs around the country. They're kicking it on. Tauranga Club's got a club day today. So other clubs getting geared up again after our stagnant times. Good to know. And when you've got a governing body that's positive about the sport and they want to make it happen, they've assisted this event to become the awesome Northern Road Race Spectacular that we've been having the privilege of commentating here today. So thank you, Pav, and your crew. And Pav, all the best, mate. Road racing's always been a great part of the sport and having you involved. So I go all the way back. Oh, somebody's just an overshoot there. Wow. And then comes down on the grass. That's Tony again. That's Tony again. Oh no, all of a sudden I thought he may have been going to back. I'll tell you what, for Tony Rees to do an overshoot of the corner at the end of the straight to go then completely out across the grass. He went across the grass here for a reason before. He was on a collision course with Al Hoogie and they hit each other, and the best way to stay on the bike was just get onto the grass, and he's just done that for a second time, and I thought surely there must have been a problem, but he's carried on out on the racetrack. So Tony, what a recovery. Lucky he was a motocross man. That's when I first knew him, back on his KX85. Hey, shout out to Stu as well. There's Stu and your recovery, Stu. All the best to you. Awesome guy. You can see why the Rees family is so dominant as it is in our race scene at the moment, because I go back to Mitch's granddad, Stu, as well. Super guy, and all the best for your recovery, Stu. And here we are with super son Tony, and just having, of course, his son Mitch talking to us here pre-racing. We'll have Tony back afterwards as well. So 3 generations of the awesome Rees family, and there's a little bit of off-roading going on, not once but twice. What did you put that one down there, Brad? Any idea? Did you see that in the making?
I think he's just pushing. He's pushing hard to try and catch back up, and he's just outbraked himself. It's easy to do down there into turn 12. So you can see with the flags here at Taupo International Motorsport Park, the tailwind down the back straight, so very easy to outbrake yourself. And look at Scotty Moyer, the bit between the teeth. He might just know that Al Hoogie and Scotty Moyer are still in this race. Lapped in the 130.5s last time around, and that is pretty quick. So let's check it out. The man on the Yamaha Pro Moto machine with Diamond Designs and Vandermeer Builders. Well done to Scotty Moyer, still leading this race here. Dave Sharp is up in a second ahead of Seth Devereux. But look at Al Hoogie, he's right there now, and he's just logged a a 1:29.5. Al Hoogie the fastest lap of the race. So it is all on. Al Hoogie's caught right up to them. There's only a second between him and Seth Devereaux. So the man on a mission now, the 43, the 2020 New Zealand Superbike champion. He's a former multiple road racing champion. He's won just about every class leading up to winning his Superbike Championship debut in 2020. And now look at him right on the back of Seth Devereaux. It's only a matter of time now. There's still 3 laps left in this one. And Al Hoogie absolutely flying. He's going to have a look at the inside into turn 6. No, Seth's just going to close the door on that one there. So some good riding on that Panigale from Seth Devereaux. Great to have Seth from Cromwell coming up here and the whole Helicraft racing team. Awesome to see them. And beautiful presentation as per always with them. So checking it out. Superbike racing here, we've got 3 laps to go. Scotty Moyer is in charge of this one by 3.6 seconds, but the interesting thing to keep an eye on is Alistair Hugenbosen really starting to climb into his work and get himself into the podium contention. As we see, this is a pretty good performance. Scott Moyer, talking to Scotty this morning, hasn't really ridden much of a bike in the last year, so great to see him on this kind of pace.
All right, so here we go, back to the attraction that we've got, and due to that misfortune of both Tony and Al and their collide, or was it a collision? Well, sometimes a collision sounds bad, but in fact they had a nudge, completely accidental, one to the other, of course, and then it was a matter of them regaining onto the track and get going again. So Scott out in front, then go to Dave. He's looking super good on that Canterbury Kawasaki ZX. That is nice bike, and he's well presented, and a second place for him at the moment is great. Seth's still there over Al. Now that's a good feature, because I tell you what, 3/4 into that lap, and you would have felt for sure that Alistair was going to make the break over Seth. It's almost as if Seth says, no way, you young buck, you're not going to get past me. So 2 South Islanders, hard at it as they go through. As we look out for Al trying to get up on the inside of the Panigale, might make it stick going into the turn. Yes, he does. Nice work, and you've seen the change there. Alistair Hugenbosen up into what is now 3rd place, and he's pushed Seth back to 4th. But Seth, of course, on the Helicraft Panigale, completely different bike. What Seth was saying about the bike when we talked to him pre-race was all the bike wants to do is do wheelies and have a whole lot of fun out there, and you've got to remember you're on a racetrack and you've got to keep it under control and keep going again. But he said just an absolutely beautiful bike to ride. This particular one's just had some work done to the suspension and one other feature. I forgot what Seth said, but other than that, a standard motorcycle, and he was going to put the traction control back on it to make sure it wasn't going to do the skids and the wheelies that it was likely to be wanting to do under normal open throttle conditions. So well done. But I tell you what, here's a man who's just making every post a winning post in this one. Scott Moyer, what a confidence booster for this guy. First major meeting back, and of course, more importantly, the first big one on now the ProMoto R1 Yamaha, and he is out to fly with the white flag out there as well. So good work on board. So big shout out on there as we talk about our supers, of course, and we talk about the Yamaha ProMoto Dunlop Diamond Design. Shout out to Evan and the team, and to Vandermeer Builders. Charlie, still love your ongoing support there, and we might do a shout out for George as well. Brad, should we? Is he worth a shout out? Will there be a tiger in the chili bin afterwards?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's a busy man today. He's got his grandson out there, Reeve, as well. So yeah, the old granddad George is he's flat out today. So on you, Georgie, love you. And we'll get racing here. White flag is out. Scotty Moyer is well in charge of this one. 3.9 seconds ahead of Dave Sharp. Dave's under a little bit of pressure from Al Hoogie in 3rd place, but let's see how that one unfolds. Then you go back to 4th for Seth Devereaux, 5th for Tony Rees, and then Finn Rutho. Good to have Finn out there on the 71 machine, the Aprilia. He rounds out our 6 runners out there in the Superbikes, but it looks like down in turn number 11 at the moment, only an absolute disaster can stop Scotty Moyer from taking this one. There was big drama early on. Tony and Al Hoogie come together and both went off the track in the S's on lap 1. And they've remounted, recovered, and now Al finds himself battling for 2nd place and with a good chance. But let's ride with the number 5. This is going to feel really good. ProMoto Yamaha right here in Taupo. The hometown hero is going to come out of turn 14, and checkered flag ready and waving. Well done to Scotty Moyer. He's going to take that one. Well done. That's going to feel good and kick off the weekend in style. He's double classing as well in the 600s. Dave Sharp will hang on for 2nd place ahead of Al Hoogie. So well done today. That's going to be a good result. And there's the wheelie for Seth Devereaux, who hangs on to 4th, only by 0.4 of a second ahead of the legend Tony Rees. So Tony, man, I love to go and catch a word with Tony. He was off the track just about more than he was on at that time. So That was a hair-raising 6 laps for Tony Rees, but good racing all around. Well done to those boys, and they'll be back later on this afternoon for their second race of the weekend as well.
Well, Brad, for some of the events, they require medical support and emergency services support in the centre of the track, so the area where those vehicles park has got some proper Armco barriers around them to protect those vehicles while they're parked there during other forms of motorsport race events. But I tell you what, Tony Rees was only metres off the end of that when he went, because as you picked up, and we caught him from the side here, he got air. He would have been off the ground for 3 metres, not 3 metres high, I mean a distance of 3 metres easily as he just flew. And looking from here, there's just a slight mound in that hill, but when you're hitting that at 160 odd kilometres an hour on some green grass with a slick tyre underneath you, you haven't got a lot of turning to do, and that Armco barrier would have been coming up damn quick in front of him. So to have just turned off the front of that and to rejoin the track, and that wasn't the only time. He did it again down here at the end of the straight with a little bit of green grass, and when he pulled it up short, I think for a starter he thought he couldn't make it through the corner, so he would pull it up, but then he decided, well no, I was all right, he could still carry on. It's a dry, hard infield, and he just literally skirted across the dirt, so he probably didn't lose all that much for it. Only Tony Rees, Brad.